Smashbox Labs.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast,
Yeah,
the
everyone.
Smashbox Live podcast.
Yeah, hey guys, we got some interesting stuff to talk about today.
Yeah, most of the talking points are by you today.
Yeah.
I added one just because I felt the need to elaborate on something because I had a realization about a story I told during our DuckTales endeavor.
You want to amend that?
Yeah, I want to amend a story. Well, not really amend, but add on to.
So append.
Append, yeah.
Yeah,
I need
okay.
to add an appendage.
Yeah, most of
an
mine.
addendum.
Yeah, an addendum. Most of mine are things that I've been thinking about late at night when I really shouldn't be fucking thinking about them. Like
You should be sleeping,
Yeah.
is what you're saying?
You ever have one of those moments where you're trying your best to get to sleep, right?
Yeah.
And suddenly, instead of thinking, the first thing that comes to mind is some dumb shit that you want to do like 40 years from now, or some dumb shit that you've been privy to in the last 20 years of your life.
Right. I mean, a couple of times. I'm a pretty active thinker, especially
Right.
whenever I lay down. I have a lot of problems. Just like, instead of going to sleep, like, I'm well aware of the fact that I need to go to sleep. I want to go to sleep. That's why I laid down.
Yeah.
But shoes, I agree.
Yeah, our cat has just interjected with a brilliant point.
But just sometimes the act of laying down just like starts stirring up thoughts. Like,
I
oh, you
feel you.
fuckhead, you really messed that thing up, or
Now, do you
wonder what you're gonna be doing in 10 years.
do you have any like before bed traditions? Right, like I can't sleep with my socks on, for example.
I used to be unable to sleep with socks on.
Really?
Yeah, but I started getting like real bad colds,
Yeah.
and I realized it was because I like to sleep with no socks,
Okay.
and also have my feet poking out of the covers.
Me too.
But I come to find out by wearing socks, I can poke my feet out from under the covers, and I don't wake up feeling like shit very often anymore.
See, now lately I've been thinking about what I would want to do, right? Like tradition-wise, if I had a family later on down the road.
Right.
Like, would I want to take my kids out fishing? Fuck no, that shit
Well, you
sounds
don't-
awful.
You don't have family traditions now, like, there's no Duke family traditions now that you might want to uphold in the future.
Well, I mean, I guess if I have two kids, right, one will fail to graduate, and I'll make sure to blame the other one for it. Just to make sure I really nail it. But no, the main tradition that we have in my family is just after about 4 p.m., even if everyone's home, it doesn't matter who's there, all of us could be. But we go our separate ways. We don't do shit to do with each other. We just go our separate ways until like maybe 1 o'clock at night, when someone's up and walking and taking a piss. Like, I would shout. You've been to the house in Ohio.
Yeah, I was there for what would we spend 10 days?
Yeah, 10, 11 days.
10 or so days with the Duke family recipe.
Yeah, and the main tradition is shouting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were a lot of times it's like, why am I awake at 3 in the morning? And it's like, oh, it's because Kelly and Donna are yelling at each other downstairs.
Yeah, I think the weirdest thing is I would go to take a shit at like 1 a.m. And my dad would also be down there taking a shit at 1 a.m. And the bathrooms are right above and below each other. So I'm
They
having
talk to you?
Yeah, I'm having a conversation with my dad through the floor.
You guys are both pooping. It's
Yeah.
fucked up.
We're just taking a shit, and he'll sign off and be like, "Oh, well, I'm gonna go ahead and head out.
Fucking
Good talking to you, dude."
It's fucking weird. Oh my god.
Yeah,
I'm so glad I grew up in for the most part, a one-bathroom home.
A non-vertically pooping
Right.
household.
Right. The one house we did have 2 bathrooms in, when my dad hooked up the plumbing for the upstairs
Oh.
bathroom.
So it didn't work.
No, it did,
Oh.
but it was hot water. So that was a pee only bathroom. You
Right.
didn't poop in that because it was just like frothing on your butt.
Yeah, you didn't want to risk it.
Yeah.
The boil butt.
Yeah. It
Now-
was just like you would get up off that toilet with a sweaty butt and you wouldn't want to put pants on. You needed to dry your butt off. It felt like as though you had peed.
Oh, that's the worst. Do you ever sit down on a toilet, right? Like, sometimes I'll sit down on that toilet we have in there. We have 2 bathrooms. The toilet in the front of the back of the house, and I'll sit down, and my butt will slide slightly because of the sweat. So I'm not in a position I want to be pooping in, but at the same time, I'm not going to stand up just to readjust my butt.
And also, you're already pooping by the time you sit down because
Yeah.
every poop for you is an emergency.
Yeah, it is.
Or is that just me? And I'm imposing that upon you as well.
No, it's me too. I usually hold off as long as I can.
Yeah.
But that means, like, I'll go 3 days without pooping, and then I'll poop for just hours at a time. I'll just go like 4 or 5 times in a day.
Like, it can't be healthy,
No,
and I'm aware of it, and I've thought about it a lot. And I was like, one of these days this is gonna what's gonna kill me. And I heard this theory. It's like ghosts will often reenact like the last thing they were doing before they died.
So Elvis is fucked.
So like the guy that chokes on toast, he's sitting there. His ghost is eternally damned to go put bread in a fucking toaster, butter it up.
Yeah.
Take a bite out of it and fucking choke and die on it for the rest of. And I was like, that is embarrassing. Like at that point, you're like, oh man, I hope nobody comes and sees me.
Now, do you think for the first like 10 years of that, you're like somewhat optimistic?
Like maybe I won't die this time.
Yeah, maybe I won't choke on the toast this time. Maybe I'll pass on.
Right, well, I mean,
do you think
you can't really choke to death as a ghost? But I feel like perhaps they just experience the death. I don't know. I don't know how it works. I really don't. But there are also like certain ghosts that are like sentient, and they're like they don't do the same thing. They occupy the same space, but like
they're doing their own thing.
They will like talk to people, and they will say things to them, and that's why I wanted to bring up the appendage to my ghost story. Okay. Growing up as a kid, I had an imaginary friend.
So did I, but go on.
Right, so I had this imaginary friend. I can't remember his name. I'm sure it was something from the Doug universe.
Right, it's like Skeeter.
Yeah, it could have been Skeeter, Patty, something like that. Because I had 2 teddy bears. Their names were Doug and Smash Adams.
I got those are good names.
Yeah, when I was in the hospital after breaking my legs as a young child.
Those are good teddy bear names.
I got 2 teddy bears. Their names were Doug and Smash Adams.
Right.
And so I had an imaginary friend. This is a couple years down the road, probably 2 or 3, and I would just be talking to my imaginary friend all the time.
Yeah.
And I remember very vaguely sometimes him talking back.
That is a little bit worrying, won't lie to
you. And one time we were going out, there's this big heavy door that it's got like one of those spring connectors, like the door out here should close on its own.
Yeah.
It was like a heavy storm door like that would close on its own very quickly.
Yeah.
And like I had pushed it open, and the wind was like really whipping.
Yeah.
And the door came flying back at me, and I remember wincing, and her got it, and the fucking door stopped.
Holy shit.
And I go, and nobody's fucking there. So I just run to the fucking car.
Now, do you think
I'm going out to the car to wait on my mom and dad. I'm like,
now, do you think it was Skeets?
It could have been Skeets. I don't know. And then I also, I remembered that growing up, we lived in a duplex house, technically, where, we switched back and forth with my grandparents, or technically my great-grandparents. They lived on the top floor, we lived on the bottom floor.
Yeah.
And at one point, we just said, this is kind of silly, let's just knock we had a pantry that was technically used to be a staircase, and I said, well, we'll just put a door there, so it'll just be a 2-story house.
Yeah.
And I remember always hearing footsteps going, back and forth. Oh, it's Grandma and Grandpa. Well, whenever they moved out, the footsteps never stopped.
Really?
And I didn't think about that. I suppose as a kid, because they moved out when I was like 10, Grandma died when I was 11, Grandpa when I was 13. Like, my grandpa literally died on my 13th birthday.
That is uncomfortable.
And I never thought about the footsteps upstairs as anything other than being Grandma and Grandpa. And then I remembered, because when I was editing it, I was like, is that really all the ghost stories I have? I was like, that's super uninteresting. I was like, most people have tons of weird, creepy ghost stories. And I was like, and I've really got oh hey, I saw a shadow. Could have been somebody breaking in.
See, I've got 3 in total. You know the laughing tree one.
The laughing tree one, which is very fucking creepy.
Yeah, I need to. What I'd love to do one day is turn it into a short story and publish it. But anyway, the other 2, one is senior year of high school. I'm going to let this person remain nameless.
Right.
But long story short, please don't describe anything about them. But long story short, I was at their house. It's 3-4 a.m. Their grandma has a heart attack while we're cuddling, and then everything goes wrong. So, I end up back at my house in town, but the problem is I don't move into that house for another 6 months. So I'm kind of standing there, and I don't really know what to do. It's about 4 a.m., and what happened was, as I was getting out of the car, she turns to me, my friend, and she puts her hand out, and she goes,
"This is your fault."
Yeah, she goes, "Are you going to be okay?" And before I could even answer, her remaining grandma, the grandma still standing, just shoves the door of the RV shut, and I'm stuck in the street while she leaves. But I go upstairs, right, and all I hear are these weird Native American chants. But I can't make them out. It's just,
hi, how are ya? Hi, how are ya?
no, it's like a more kind of tribal amalgam of whispers. And every time I look around, they vanish. Until eventually I'm sitting up in the room that became my room.
So was that house built on an Indian burial ground?
I don't know. I know it was built in a terrifying place.
Wait, when was that house built?
I think 1900, 1906.
How was it? So it was being renovated, you're saying?
What do you mean?
Because you're saying it wasn't finished yet.
Oh, it still isn't finished.
Well, yeah, I mean...
Because my parents ruined
they moved in.
Yeah.
Like, what did they have done before they were
like,
we
they started to take all the wallpaper off the walls.
Right.
I scraped wallpaper every day after school, and after lifting, coincidentally, for like fucking 4 months.
Right.
So, at this point, I'm just in the top room, and I'm chilling in the corner. And because at this point, I can't turn my back. Every time I do, I hear the whispers. Until eventually, from downstairs, and the only thing lighting the stairway is this kind of storm light. So I see the stairs looming and long, and the shadows cast on the wall, and all I see is this tiny little shadow creeping up the steps. And at the same time, I hear the chanting grow in intensity, and it's just...
Like the Indian... Like an Indian in the cupboard sized little guy.
Yeah, an Indian in the cupboard sized little fella. And he's
like Apache Chief. He's 6 inches tall and he's coming up the stairs.
Yeah, and so, you know me, I'm one of those guys, I'm not afraid to look stupid. I said it out loud. I said, hello? Who's there? And the head, I see the...
They said, paleface, get him.
I see the head of the shadow just turn. And then I blinked and it was gone.
Nice.
And I was super freaked out.
At least it didn't kill you.
Yeah, I left after that, though. I walked down the steps, I left the house, I started walking the 2.5 miles back to Pitt.
Did you tell your parents about this?
Fuck no. My dad would have laughed at me. He would have laughed at me so hard.
Y'all fucking moved into that house.
Yeah.
Like, y'all could have been murdered by some ancient Native American ghosts.
Sometimes I think ghosts have, like, a knack for loving my family.
Because,
like,
do they just hang around? Like, are you guys like the Fentons?
No. When my grandma died, you know, I think I've told you this before, it was in my sister's bed.
Right.
Yeah, so...
Oh, yeah.
With my sister in the bed. So my sister and my grandma are laying there to get to sleep.
Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how... Well, no wonder she didn't turn out, the
perfect,
best.
yeah. So,
I mean, no offense. It's
yeah, none intended.
Who moves past that normally?
Yeah, so a couple years later, maybe 2 years later, my sister's hanging out with her best friend. They're in a room, you know, they're doing their own thing. And then while my sister is laying back, and above her head she had this huge rack full of stereo equipment. It had to be weighing like 200, 300 pounds, all on this little bearing in the wall. So the bearing falls.
Well, yeah, you shouldn't have that much on a fucking shelf.
No shit.
Jesus Christ.
You know the one in our kitchen?
And let me guess, she blames it on the ghosts.
No, here's the interesting thing. It falls, and there's nothing to hold it up at this point. It's free of the wall. Her friend claims this as many times as we've asked her.
Oh, she had a friend over?
Yeah.
Oh,
and her friend,
I missed that part.
Yeah, her friend claims it.
Cutie.
But it falls, and then it stops over her head, as if it got caught on something. And it doesn't fall. And then my sister just slowly moves her head out from under it. And this is when I hear just a big clatter in the other room. And the sound of, stereos breaking and etc. as it hit the side of the bed and fell off and whatnot. And to this day, they claim that it stopped like inches above her head.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not really a ghost kind of person. I don't really believe in the paranormal that much. But some of the shit I've seen is just weird.
Ghosts are rad.
They are rad dudes. I like to think that some ghosts just form an apartment. You know?
What do you mean by that?
Like, okay, so let's say, our house gets haunted, right? Our home. And a ghost is here. Right? He's just chilling. He's doing his own thing. Right. Sometimes he uses the toaster that we don't have. Other times he uses a coffee maker that's, not the best right now. Other times he uses the fridge and freezer.
Still coffee sitting in that thing.
From about 8 months ago, yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
Well, 4 months.
I've been
5.
here 6 months.
Shit.
The previous occupants who used that haven't been here. I think he said that they got thrown out like the month before.
They got thrown out like the day I went up to come get you.
Okay.
Or like the day before.
Okay.
Because what happened was I was at work right before the break started.
And then came in the house and Matt's like, they're gone.
Yeah, what happened was I got a text from our roommate just saying, hey, the cops kicked in the door, tased everyone else. I pretended to be asleep. And I was like, shit, dude, I'm with you. I would have done the same fucking thing. And in my head, I was thinking, but maybe I would have been out there cheering.
Yeah.
Because, like, what if...
Also getting tased and cheering.
Yeah. It would have been worth it, I think. I've heard that, you know what a JVS is, a Joint Vocational School?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that the police applicants there, they have to get tased before they can actually do their shit.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing. And I was going to go into law enforcement for a while. And then I started taking, my sophomore year, I took video editing classes and TV broadcasting. And I was like, this is a lot more doable than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
It's like, this is what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to do this, but I was like, there's no feasible street for me to take to start doing something like that. And it's like, oh, hey, welcome to high school. You can do that.
I actually have a lot of friends who work in the news industry. One of my friends is the producer for Channel 5 News. One's an executive producer for Channel 8 for Fox.
And you blew Anderson Cooper after prom, right?
No, but and then another friend of mine, Connor Dunwoody, is an anchor. Props, Connor.
Boat?
No, for an actual news company thing.
Right. So a boat.
Yeah, sure. But he's a cool guy. I have a lot of random friends. The instructor who sent me a $50 check when I graduated, her daughter is an anchor. Yeah, I have
like
a lot.
For a boat or news?
News.
I feel the need to ask it every time.
Both are news.
I have a weird anchor story.
Okay, hit me.
So I've told you before. I don't know if I've mentioned it on the channel at all. I used to work at a lakeside restaurant, a marina, and
Right.
and my main job was to attend the dock, which was boats would come in. I'd fill up. If they paid with a credit card, I'd run it upstairs, and I would occasionally have to do bait stuff, like give people bait and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
But we also had to take care of the rental boats.
Yeah.
Put people on the boats, send them out. When they come back in, fill them up, and write on their ticket how much gas they used, because they got to pay by how much gas they used plus the time they were out, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, these one people, they were rednecks from, I believe the guy said he was from Austin, because he said, he talked about how Austin was this weird place, and how if you go to Austin, on the sign it'll say, welcome to Austin, keep it weird. I don't know if it's true or not. I never fact checked him. I've seen some weird stuff in Austin though.
Yeah.
And so these guys come back like midway through the day. They've got the boat for, I think they got 3 days.
Okay.
And they come back midway through the day. Their girlfriends come get on the boat. They've been doing fishing. Their girlfriends come get on the little pontoon. They bring beer. I don't know any of the rules, so all I know is how I'm supposed to tell them how to fucking control the thing. I don't know if they're allowed to bring beer out or not, so I'll let them go.
Yeah.
They come back in and are very drunk, like very, very, very drunk. And whenever instead of tying their boat to the dock, they sling their anchor across the dock. It hits the other pontoon and falls into the water, and so we're pulling this line up that's got the anchor on it.
Yeah.
And we're pulling it up, and then it snags.
Mm-hmm.
And it, so we let it down, try and pull it up again, snags. So we're like, fuck. We got to pull the one pontoon out, and as we start to pull the pontoon out, the anchor's going with it, and eventually just anchor comes off. Like, now we got no anchor for this thing. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah. We
can get a new anchor. What the fuck happened to the other anchor? What was going on here?
Yeah.
Because it looked like it had just hit and fell, and it just went over the dock, like wasn't around the pontoon,
right,
or anything. So I don't know what was happening. We later found out that the other pontoon drove in, dragging its anchor.
Of course it did.
And so whenever this anchor was thrown over, they got tangled up. So we pulled the other pontoon out, and we had the line taut, and it was also sort of like in between the cracks of the dock. Whenever it pulled out, it went and popped the other anchor off. But these drunk Austinians come back like, hey, what's going on? I was like, oh, y'all forgot to tie it on the boat. Like, no, Darlene, you threw the anchor over there. And I was like,
her name's Darlene.
Y'all thought that was a good idea? I was like, no, y'all gotta. There are ropes here. You see the rope? It's already in a nice knot for you. You slide it on there. You pull it taut. Boom. Super easy. Tie really any knot around any part of your boat to keep it secure. I don't care. But don't throw your fucking anchor at a other fucking pontoon. Just throw it over the dock. That'll keep us here.
Dude, fuck. Sometimes you just think, like, at what point did these people grow up?
Right.
You know, at what point did they just start, like, understanding what it means to be an adult?
I mean, they had jobs and stuff.
Yeah, but I know, like, 15-year-olds with under-the-table jobs, and they're still shitters.
Right. Well, these guys, like, they came back, like, that night, and like, they had the boat for 3 days. They spent 2 more days fishing.
Yeah.
Apparently, something had happened the night after. You know, they were making fun of Darlene for throwing the fucking anchor over.
Yeah.
After I had told them that that's not what you were supposed to do.
Yeah.
And so they were making fun of her. So they come back in for gas at one point. She takes off, takes her friend with her. So then the guys just go fishing. And then they spend the next 2 days fishing by themselves. And they're like, you know, the guy just tries to pay me. I'm like, you gotta take this upstairs. And he's like, oh, that's weird. I'm like, yeah, we don't have a drawer down here. It rains.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh, I guess that makes sense. He's like, I don't really know how I'm going to tip you then. And I'm like, I mean,
just give me the tip.
Just give me the tip.
Like, what are you doing here, champ?
But the guy apparently tries to fucking leave without paying and then comes back the next day and is like, hey, because his card bounced or whatever, so he goes outside to make a phone call. He leaves.
Yeah, naturally.
Yeah.
As is the way.
Yeah, because he didn't have enough cash on him. He used a lot more gas than he thought he did. Because I had like 6 different returns where I filled up his gas the 3 days they were out there fishing. You know, that I had wrote on their ticket how much gas they were using. And so when he goes up to pay for it, he don't have enough cash on him. He tries to use his card. Card gets declined. He goes to make a phone call, leaves, comes back like 3 days later, new girl. And they're like, hey, you got that money?
Yeah.
And he's super embarrassed by this.
Yeah, no shit. I hope he was.
Yeah, I mean, props to that guy though. He paid
try.
for it, and they did make him. You know, they did run his card and hold his card while he was out with the boat the next time, because they didn't want to do that again.
History denotes. Yeah, I think the thing about it is after a certain point, people just end up shitters no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, some people can't help it. Some people are raised by shitters to become a shitter.
I hope, like, swear to God, if I ever have kids, you know,
If they come out as bad as you.
if they come out as bad as me, I guess they'll end up okay, but start out pretty awful. You know?
I was fucking with you, man.
Well, I mean, compared to some of the kids I've, like, babysat or something like that, it's not that bad.
Right.
You know, there was fucking one kid, I babysat him. And keep in mind, I've known this kid a while. Right? I've been friends with his brother. I've been over to the house a lot. Come the morning. Right? Morning after. His brother and I had been playing Halo in the basement. We'd been having a good time. It's about 8 a.m. I'm just waking up. I'm eating some eggs at the kitchen table. And his mom says, D, pick up your toys. And he looks her dead in the face, as I am to you now. And she goes, D, pick up your toys. And he looks her in the eyes, and he says, eat my dick, mommy. And he's about 40 years old. This is the first coherent sentence I've ever fucking heard out of him. And he says that dead to her soul.
Jesus.
Yeah, and I'm fucking...
My God. I think at that point you're like, I didn't know you were evil. I mean, We can still put you up for a. We'll leave you on the fireman's doorstep, and he's got to take you.
But
that's the rules, right?
Yeah, I was choking and laughing on my eggs, and she looks at me and she goes, "This is your fault, isn't it?"
Of course it is.
Yeah, and the worst part was I had beaten his brother. I think it was like 25-7 last night.
And you said, "Eat my dick,"
complete with pelvic thrust and everything.
Oh my God.
So
it was your fault.
Yeah, I threw the
it was
controller
definitely
to the
your
couch.
fault.
I was gone.
Oh my God, dude.
It was absurd, dude.
That's awful.
Yeah, but the same kid ended up babysitting later on when he was about 5. And this is
like a year later.
Yeah. And we're hanging out in his brother's room, about to become his room because his brother's gonna be moving out soon.
You walk in on him eating a dick, or
No, I'm playing.
That would have been ironic, right?
I'm playing not age appropriate games with him. Like it's 3-year-old games. He's like a 5-year-old.
All right.
So I'm holding up bears. I'm like, who's this bear? And they're all based off athletes. So I held up like a Larry Bird basketball bear, and he goes, Birdman. And I was like, yeah, that's right, dude. Why are you talking like you're dumb? But yeah, that's right. And, we go through this. We do some baseball guys. Matt Stafford, for some reason.
Oh, I'm waiting.
And then we get to Michael Jordan.
Oh, man.
And I hold the bear up. And I go, D, who's this? And he goes, that's an N-word. And obviously he doesn't censor himself. He actually just shouts it at the top of his lungs at me.
Oh my goodness.
And keep in mind, this is the first time I've been alone with this kid since the eat my dick incident.
Right.
And I can't help but think this is all on me now.
Well, you didn't say the N-word to him, did you?
Yeah, but I couldn't tell.
Did you call his brother the N-word the last time you were over there playing Halo?
No, but now I couldn't tell his parents because what if they think I taught it to him? This is the same kid that not even a full year after that.
your son said a racist remark.
Is it a racial slur?
He said an N-word.
Yeah, dude, this kid.
A particular N-word, one that has a lot of tension behind it. It rhymes with the Winnie the Pooh character name of the tiger. I don't want to say it.
But dude, this kid about a year later, just under, but
his mom's like, "What's wrong with saying?"
yeah, that's exactly
She's
what
like,
happened.
"That's not a problem. That's the one saying eat my dick."
Yeah, but he filled my mouth with Legos while I was asleep.
Nice.
So this is what happens, right? My eyes.
She was just over there fucking up the tablecloth.
Yeah, but
oh my God,
my eyes slowly flutter open. It's about 9 a.m. It's
got
a Saturday.
16 Legos in your mouth. He's about to put the 17th in.
I'm sitting there, and I try to say something. I go, and what I tried to say was, Deacon, is that you? Because I can see him just out of my field of vision. He's just on the other end. I'm laying on the couch against the wall. He's in the kitchen. And I get a good look at him, and I realize there's something in my mouth. And before I can put my hand up, he starts running at me in a dead sprint. And now I'm concerned. I try to push myself up, but I had been asleep on my arm, so it wasn't happening. And he just jumps up into the air and Superman punches me in the mouth. So I got a mouthful. I know. I got a mouthful of Legos. I'm about 17 years old at this point. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I bawled. It wasn't a hard punch.
Why did you babysit a demon?
Dude, I don't know. And this kid, not a year before that, this is before the Michael Jordan incident, we were hanging out with his brother, and he calls me into his dad's room. His dad's gone. So it's just me and him at this point. And I go, D, what did you want? And he goes, look, all we got to do is we got to kill mommy, and then we can get a motorcycle, and we can ride off with daddy. And I said, okay, this sounds like a gay marriage I don't want to be privy to.
Oh my God. What the fuck, dude?
Yes.
What kind of shit is this kid seeing? What kind of TV do his parents let him watch?
Dude,
holy hell.
They're good parents, but they bought him Mortal Kombat.
No, they are not good parents.
But
dude.
they bought him Mortal Kombat.
If your kid acts like that, you're not a good parent.
Well, okay.
If you're not correcting that behavior, you're a poor parent. You're a bad parent.
The parents were doing fine, but the brother and sister were just ruining all the stuff they did. This kid...
What you're saying is the parents were doing fine except for at the time where they didn't discipline their other children.
Yeah.
So their other children were also shitters. Because if you raise 2 kids that corrupt your third kid, you're still a bad parent. You're not, defending that. Whoever these parents of Deacon are, They're shitters. they're raising a murderer. It sounds like.
Dude,
and obviously his mom is not his favorite.
Dude, I don't know why he hated his mom. His mom was super nice to him.
Probably why he told her to eat his dick.
Dude, I remember I was so concerned when he said that.
Bitch, tell me to pick up my toy. You pick up my toy, mama.
Dude, he just goes, eat my dick, mommy, and I lost it, dude. Can you imagine being a fly on that wall for a minute?
She was just trying to get you, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Just trying to fuck up your ass.
Dude, can I tell like a gross story?
I mean, we've talked about poop already.
Okay, so earlier I felt something weird on my tailbone. So I had Krista look at it. Now, here's what happens.
Okay, can I stop you right now?
Yeah.
Am I going to want to censor this?
No.
Are you saying that with confidence?
Yeah, confidence.
Okay.
She looks at it and she goes, "Oh, it's not that bad." And I said, "Oh, okay." And then she lingers a second. I don't really know what's going on. Shoes are attacking my feet. And then she goes, "Huh?" And I said, "What?" Because now I'm concerned. And she goes, "You got TP on your butthole." And for a minute, I am now sitting there in abject horror because it's not that I'm particularly offended that she looked at my butthole, you know.
It's like that's an intimate experience that should not have happened for years to come. Like that's like 6 years of marriage and this happens kind of thing.
See, the thing for me is,
hey, we've been dating for like 2.5 months or however long it's been.
I think it's been three and
months.
something. But I wasn't offended. It was just I was mortified that I had TP on my butthole.
And that you exposed your butthole to your girlfriend?
No, that I was fine with. It was just
really?
the TP being there that made my butthole unsightly. You know?
Nah, I've got to disagree with you there. I think I've got to wait at least 4 months till I show a girl my beehole.
Okay, so what's like your threshold, right, for the beehole experience?
I was joking about that. Like, hopefully it's like she doesn't know it exists until like the marriage goes stale and she starts to slip a pinky in there or something.
Dude, you know what I when you put ghost stories as one of the things you want to talk about, you know what I immediately thought?
What's that?
How many people have seen your beehole without you knowing it?
Hopefully none. I mean,
I played
as a child, we were probably the only time where somebody looked at our beehole.
Right.
That should ever like see your beehole. That you're again, it's not 6 years into the marriage. It's gone a little stale, so she starts to slip a pinky in there.
Yeah.
And even then, she doesn't even have to look at it. She's just got to find it with her sphincter-seeking missile there.
Yeah. But I was thinking about it, and I played football. You played football.
No shower though.
You didn't do that?
No.
Did you ever get naked in the locker room at all?
No.
I did.
Yeah, you're gay, so I mean.
But I mean,
makes sense.
So many people saw my butt, and at the time I had a weird cyst going on. It was a rough situation.
Like on your butt?
On my tailbone.
Is that?
That's what I was worried about, but it seems okay.
Back?
I trust the opinion
of a non-doctor.
I trust my girlfriend's opinion on whether or not I have a cyst.
So whenever you die in 6 months, we know who to blame it on.
To be fair, last time I got it laser removed.
Right.
Which was weird.
So I mean,
I couldn't walk around for a little while.
If I were to start taking applications now, that would be rude.
Yeah, you want to wait until 2 weeks before I'm scheduled to go down.
Yeah, it's like he's got 2 months to live. And I'm like, all right, I gotta start drawing up an application so I can get somebody to replace him.
Who would you want to like tell you, right? Like if let's say I die.
You died.
Like tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I was at work or something. Let's say I died today and I'm at work.
I assume it would be Matt, and also Matt would probably be the best person to like deliver that information.
How would he break that to you?
He'd probably walk out here, sit down in the recliner, lean back, and go, "Oh boy, Gaza, Duke died. Duke's dead."
And he'd be like, "What?" And he'd go, "Duke's dead."
I'm like, "What happened?" And he'd explain very plainly what happened. Call you an idiot for letting it happen.
I would probably die in a dumb way.
Well, I mean, if it's the cyst that kills you, he said it was nothing to worry about. Yeah, well, he's a dumbass.
Yeah, well, he's dead.
He's also dead now because of it.
So, what do you think is like the worst news you've ever broken to something?
That's a tough one. Like I've worked in grocery stores a lot, so I've had to tell people like, "Hey, we don't have that." like all the time. So that it's like a little numb. But like some people have acted like I just told them a family member had died.
Yeah.
Like people who are coming in last minute before, like a week before Christmas, and wanting stuff to make, like Christmas treats, like a cheese ball. It's like, you don't have.
Wait, what's a cheese ball?
I don't know exactly what it is, but it's like some sort of cheese and this Hormel dried beef, and we always thought we get like a fucking pallet of it. Apparently, I only worked there 2 Christmases.
Yeah.
And so, and I was only on stock crew for the second one. And we get this whole fucking pallet of Hormel dried beef, and it just sits in the middle of the fucking produce area. And like week after week after week, more and more of it's fucking gone. And it's finally out. And for the next 2 weeks, people are in there freaking the fuck out because they can't find this stuff. Like, well, why didn't you get it,
Ahead of time.
2 months ago when we got the pallet in?
Yeah.
You know, like a couple of smart people were like, I'm just going to get a box of this because I know I'm going to be making a lot of cheese balls.
Yeah.
And I was like, my mom used to make those for my dad every now and then. But it smelt really bad, so I never actually tried it.
It doesn't sound good, but a buffalo chicken wheel is good, and it doesn't sound like it'd be good.
A buffalo chicken wheel?
Yeah, it's like, you know, like a
That
buffalo...
sounds delicious.
Like, you know, like a wrap?
Yeah.
Imagine that.
It's like, oh, so it's like a pinwheel, but buffalo chicken?
Yeah, it's a pinwheel.
Okay.
And it's like buffalo chicken.
Pinwheels are good. Buffalo chicken's good. Buffalo chicken pinwheel will be good.
But go on. You were saying people come in Christmas time, they freak the fuck out.
Right. That's the closest I've got really to giving bad news to people.
Right.
You know, aside from like school, like telling people, I'm not gonna let you copy my homework.
Yeah.
or actually, whenever I was down here, this one kid was cheating off of me for the history final, and my history teacher, who was a super rad dude, his name was Mr. Phil.
Yeah.
And he was one of 2 cool teachers I had. And he asked me afterwards, he's like, hey, I noticed some wary eyes. Do you know if X student was looking over at your paper? I was like, yeah, he got almost all of his answers from me and Corey over here. And he's like, yeah, I thought that was the case, all right. And then, so the kid comes back in the room because he went to the bathroom after cockily handing in his test.
Right.
And, you know, comes back in, and Mr. Phil's like, let me talk to you over here for a minute. And he pulls him aside and, you know, calls him out on cheating and tells him he's getting a 0, meaning he fails the class. And he comes back over and he sits down and he's like, man, Mr. Phil thinks I was cheating. That's horse shit. And I was like, yeah, weren't you? And he goes, well, yeah, but I don't know who told him. I was like,
really?
I told him, you racist piece of shit. And then I high-fived the black kid that sat in front of me because, like, a couple months earlier, he had threatened the black kid in front of me for answers to the study guide.
Wow.
Like, said, calling him boy and everything.
Wow.
And he said, listen here. And, like, his name's Jaden or something like that.
Of course. Is
And,
this in Alabama?
Yeah.
Of course. Every name in Alabama is Jaden, Braden, Braxton,
Right.
or some variation thereof.
Right. Well, Jaden, I've never seen this kid stand up before.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've always been packing my shit together, and he's gone before I, like, legitimately can measure how tall he is because I'm sitting down.
Yeah.
So he stands up for this confrontation, and I realized this kid's fucking huge. He's like 6'5", 6'6".
Yeah.
And I was like, Paul, you're like 5'5". He'll step on you.
Yeah.
And he turns to me, he's like, you're supposed to be on my side. I was like, no, you racist son of a bitch, I'm not.
Like, why would I be on your side?
I was like, you're trying to bully him for answers. Not only that, you're trying to bully him and he's bigger than you, and you're bullying him because he's black.
You're just making bad
It
decisions.
was like, that's a string of bad decisions right there that you don't want to make. I was like, I don't know if you caught this, but I'm not from around here. I'm not going to take your back just because we're white and he's not.
Yeah, that's not my strat.
That's not the play here.
Yeah.
Especially when he's bigger than you.
See, I've never had anything like that. I was usually pretty forthcoming with that kind of thing.
You didn't go to high school down here, though.
Fair, that's true. I went to high school in Ohio.
Yeah, I had
Whole time.
very, very, like, it was about 50-50 the high school I went down here. But there was, like, maybe between 10 and 20 black people in the high school I went to in Ohio. And that was while I, like, the 4 years I was there.
Yeah.
They were seniors to freshmen. So that's like 8 years of people.
For ours, there was, let me think. There was Bryce.
You don't need to start naming people. Just count them.
Yeah, fair. There were 5 actually. One of them ended up in jail for arson, murder, theft, and etc. He has a lot of. We've talked
Okay,
about
I thought you were naming like all 5.
No, gosh, no. One of them plays for Kent State.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I think it's Kent.
It
might be Bowling Green.
Those are both not very like
Fair.
high-end schools for sports.
Fair.
Athletics.
The only high-end guy I've ever gotten my shit pushed in by in football is the guy who plays for, what do you call it? Played for Mizzou. Matty Mock. Cool guy.
You missed me.
Yeah, but I want to name him because he's a cool guy. Got a DUI with 2 girls on the back of his motor scooter.
Oh, you told me about that guy. Yeah,
so
I remember now.
Props to you, Matty. If you're out there listening, please God hook me up with that story. I gotta know.
gotta know what happened there, bud.
Yeah, how'd you get 2 bitches on your motor scooter?
Yeah, well, when you're on a motor scooter, how'd you pick up a bitch in the first place?
How'd
you get 2 of them? Yeah.
Like how?
Don't know who I am.
But dude,
he there slurring his speech like Scoop from F is for Family.
Yeah, but the worst news I've ever given someone, it's a tie. One was some girl came back into town, and her brother was in the military.
Right.
Her family hadn't told her that he died.
Ooh, man.
They were saving it.
I wonder where mom and dad got that new flag from. Ooh.
Dude, the worst part was like they didn't like put it out or anything. And like I was talking to her when I ran into the store, I was like, "How you been?" And she's like, "Well, what do you know?" I was like, "Since your brother died." And she's like, "What?" And I was like, I didn't know what she meant. I was like, "Yeah, are you okay? Is everything all right?" She's like, "No, what do you mean my brother died?"
Well, he's in the army.
Yeah, she was like,
and that's sort of his line of business.
Yeah, and she was like, "He's been writing me," and I was like, "Oh, honey."
It's your parents.
Yeah.
Just like Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy, hon.
Yeah.
It's your parents.
She cried.
I would imagine she just found out her brother died. From some doof in the supermarket.
Yeah, some doof in Geyers. So fucking the other one. Again, gonna ask you to refrain from.
Listen, you're gonna have to stop naming locations like near your house because people are gonna triangulate where your parents live at.
Fair, yeah.
They're gonna call a SWAT team over there.
For the second time.
For the second time, and it's gonna be a bad time.
Yeah, but the second person, again, I'm gonna ask you to refrain from any details.
You're the only person that's been giving details for any of this stuff.
Yeah, but I prefer this to be as contextless as possible for future stories. I found out her boyfriend was cheating on her. Right, so I told her. Well, how it happened was I pulled up with my friend, and he had given me a vape and some Skittles. So he let me hit his vape, and I walked up with a vape and some Skittles. And she opens the door, and she had been so mad at me. She hadn't been talking to me for like 2 weeks. And I told her, and to her credit, she didn't like doubt me or anything.
You just walk up with bad news. Bad news on your mind, vape in one hand, Skittles in the other.
And I blow the vape in her face, and I go, your boyfriend's cheating on you. And she looks at me, and she looks at me, and she looks at me. And then I see one tear come out of one eye, and she's in a pink fluffy bathrobe. She drops to her knees. It's 0 degrees outside in the middle of the Ohio winter.
And you unzip.
No, she hits the ground, and she's fucking bawling in the doorway. I hear her 2 lesbian grandmas shouting shit. They're super confused. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And fucking after about 10 minutes of just standing there, my friend sitting out in the car with it idling, she was like, "Hey, come inside." So I do.
Wait, is it the friend we saw movies with?
Yeah.
I was gonna say because that's who I was picturing because you said vape and Skittles.
Yeah,
because he was blowing that Skittles vape.
Yeah, so he's chilling out in the car.
We need to get him down here.
We do, and she invites me inside. So I go inside, and she calls her boyfriend on the phone. And she has a fucking shouting match with him. She's talking about who's this bitch, who's this bitch, who's this bitch.
Like, oh my god, I can just imagine just sitting there like,
I was like,
I don't need to be here for this. I mean, if you wanted some payback sex, that would have been cool.
Yeah, I was like, that would have been dope. Like, I would have loved to hit it from the back. She had a fat ass. So
I wouldn't even go to the zoo this time.
Yeah, so I'm sitting there. I'm there for about 2 fucking hours before finally she gets off the phone with him, and she starts talking to me. And she's like, if someone needed it, my will is here, and like she tells me where her will is, and I'm like, okay, and I'm immediately getting a sense of foreboding because I'm like, if this bitch dies,
what? That sounds like, hey, if I kill myself,
here's my will.
Here's my will. Yeah,
and that would make me an accessory under Ohio law.
Who?
Yeah, I don't know.
She's so young to have a will.
Yeah, she was 18 at the time.
Like,
just
Jesus.
barely 18.
Like, I mean,
no, she was 17 at the time.
Now, like at the time, probably would have felt bad.
Yeah.
Now, fuck that bitch.
Oh yeah.
Knowing what I know now, fuck that bitch.
Yeah. So
tear the will up.
Yeah, I'm there.
Nobody gets it
for about 5-6 hours, and then my friend comes to the door and he knocks, and
he's still out there. Oh my god!
And
what a fucking bro!
And this brings me to the bad news I had to deliver.
What?
I said, what do you mean? I said, hey man, I forgot you were out there. I'm sorry. And I love that guy to death. I love him so much. He's one of my best friends in the world. But holy fuck, I forgot he was out there. He didn't even shoot me like a text. He didn't give me like a heads up. He was just, I'm guessing he was out there like smoking weed and just chilling. I don't really know what he was doing, but
what do you mean this brings you to the bad news you had to deliver?
And he goes, all right, man, well, I think we should probably head out. And I said, it's going to be a while. And he looks at me and he goes, what do you mean? And he goes, and I go, I'm going to be here a little while, man. And he goes, do you want me to wait? And I was like, no. And he goes, that sounds like a yes. And I was like, so I just hand him back his vape. And I walk back inside. The whole time, I'm just thinking to myself, God, I am comparatively an awful friend.
Yeah.
Dude.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, that whole shebang was a fun fucking day.
Duke, you're wearing your socks inside out.
Oh yeah, I intended to just take them off when I got home.
You're wearing them inside out.
I usually wear them upside down too.
How do you do it? How do you live with yourself?
Well, first off, you gotta drink a lot.
You don't.
And then
we can't afford for you to drink a lot.
That's fair. Fair.
You drink a lot of soda.
Yeah, I drink lately, especially too much.
Yeah.
I don't know what it has been in the last month or so, but I've just been chugging soda after soda.
I'm gonna you keep it up and put you in a figure 4 leg lock.
True.
Like the old Ric Flair move.
Dude, fucking I
don't know how to do a figure 4 leg lock.
I wanted to do one the other day because Krista said some shit to me, and I was like, you
ever been in a figure 4 leg lock, and then you just like tried to put her in one, or what?
Yeah, I started to, and she was like, no, I've never been in a figure 4. What the fuck are you doing? And I was like, trying to put you in a figure 4 leg lock.
I don't know, I've never done this before.
And she was like, well, what's wrong? And I was like, I don't remember how the fuck it goes.
I can't get it up.
I can't get my figure 4 leg lock up. But fucking...
Sorry for opening my loud-ass cup, but I had a scratch in my throat. I needed it.
I'm with you, dude. I've been there. I mean, I've been sipping out of a cherry vanilla Pepsi that I thought I was going to hate.
Yeah, you have an open can over there, and I wouldn't do that on this desk because it's dark back there, and I can't see any creepy crawlies that might try and get in there.
Yeah, our house is besieged by buggos. I hate it. We live in Alabama, though, so it could just be a normal amount of Bama stuff.
Yeah, I assume it's like no matter how clean you are, because my mom is like a clean freak, and when we lived down here, the house we lived in, like they were fucking everywhere, and they really we didn't start to notice them until we moved, when we were taking stuff out because they had shit to hide behind.
Yeah.
But when we started taking shit out and had it in boxes, they started coming out of the woodwork. But we had been doing all the shit our neighbors had told us to do to fight them, like putting mothballs down all around the fucking house like once a month. Mm-hmm. And it just didn't help. When we started moving shit, there were cockroaches, big fucking cockroaches.
Yeah.
And it's just like other kinds of bugs that I've never seen before. I guess they're a southern only thing.
There are a lot of bugs that are like that.
You know, the fucked up thing is, like, I don't see normal ants down here. I've only seen fire ants.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Oh my god.
Dude, fucking...
I spent 6 months down here before, in 2012. Never got bit by a fire ant until the day we were leaving. I was literally carrying boxes to the truck. And this was one of the last fucking boxes. We had all the heavy shit in the trunk. This was almost out of Alabama. And, like, as a farewell, almost, it seems, I step on the corner of the the stepping stone driveway we had, which was awful, by the way, especially when you're moving shit.
Yeah, I bet.
Step on the corner. There had always been a fucking fire ant hill right there. And I'm walking, didn't think anything of it, and then I start feeling the fucking bites, and I'm just like, son of a fucking bitch. And I fucking drop the fucking box, and I'm sitting there like, get the shit off me.
Now, I hate to be this guy.
The one-upsman?
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured almost any time I tell a story, I almost immediately expect, especially if I'm telling it to you, or if, me, you, and Matt are sitting around talking, I expect you to have a one-upsman story. Yeah,
there's some stuff that I'm very glad I don't have it for, but just...
Like, incontinence? You probably have some one-up stories for incontinence. I don't have any incontinence stories.
I'm not telling them today.
Right.
But... Long story short, I was in Florida when I was like 5 or 6, and I lived there from when I was about 4 to when I was about 9. And one day I kicked an anthill. I was super pissed. My friend, whose name I don't even remember, I kicked an anthill. I was super mad at him, and I was swearing up and down with all the swear words my young mind knew. And it wasn't a black anthill. It was a fire anthill.
I've never seen a black anthill.
Yeah, I realized...
I've only seen, like them in, like, there's a hole in the ground where they're all going into.
Yeah.
It's not like a mound rising from the spot where they've called their own.
Yeah, they're not volcanoes of death.
Yeah.
So
they're just like, we're going to walk back over here into our little cave system.
Yeah.
We'll see y'all later. Thanks for the crumbs and shit.
Yeah, so I kicked
Black ants are chill.
They are,
they're annoying.
They're cute,
whenever
though.
they're in your house. But it's like when you're outside, you're like, oh, look at the little ants.
Yeah.
We dropped that bread the other day. Remember? They're getting the bread over there.
Yeah, but I kicked the anthill. It hits like the little anthill adjacent to it. Both are red ants.
Nice.
So they immediately swarm out. They're all fucking pissed off. And now, I'm a little shit. I'm not smart at this point. I'm just pointing and laughing because I fucking kicked their home and ruined their lives. And I ended up bedridden for about 3 fucking days. Had to go to the hospital. Swelling did not want to go down. A rough time.
Fucking dumbass.
Yeah, dude, the thing about my one-upsman story is it's never a good way,
No, sometimes it's like, haha, I've got a better story than you. But that one is just hey, I got it worse than you did, bud.
Yeah, and it's not one of those things where I mean to like belittle someone else's experience.
Well, that certainly makes the belittling feel better.
But it's just one of those things where it's like I hope that by relating my own story,
right,
they're like, oh, okay, it could have been worse.
You're right, dude. The belittling does feel a lot better knowing that you got hurt way worse than I did. I'm just trying to tell a simple story about me getting bit by a fire ant on my last day in Alabama. What I thought would be my last day ever in Alabama.
To be fair, that's like the worst way to go out of the state.
I mean, it was about par for the course.
Yeah.
Considering my experience when I was down here.
Fair. Did I ever tell you how I knew I crossed over from Ohio to Kentucky?
The smell of shit.
No, I was on the bus and I blinked, and on one side of the state line there was sunshine and rainbows and happiness and green fields everywhere. And on the other side was this dark, dingy, gray place known as Ohio.
No, I think you're over romanticizing Kentucky.
See, I think I'm just telling Ohio is a bit darker than it really is.
Right. No. Because Kentucky is home of the world's largest garbage, fire, and fecal treatment or sewage treatment facility. Known as Kentucky.
The girl that we went out with for coffee.
The whole state.
She went to college in Kentucky.
Yeah, we had a little bit of a double date while we were in Ohio.
Yeah.
In the sense that we were both on a coffee date with a girl.
Yeah, it was interesting. But she went to a college there.
A girl that the year prior was sending you all kinds of signals, and you were sending her a busy signal.
Dude, I'm not a smart guy.
You are like literally the worst when it comes to that stuff, and you never like tell anybody about these things while they're happening.
I just
you
show
wait.
the text
You
later.
wait until you've ruined your chance, and then you're like, "Look at this stuff," and then we're like, "She was trying to fuck."
I think the worst.
No. Oh God, yeah, she was.
I think the worst one is one time this girl wanted me to come over and basically Netflix and chill. She
wanted to watch the Star Wars movies before the new one came out.
And she told me, "Hey, come over," and she sent me like a winky face. We'll watch movies. And I was like, "What movies?" And she was, "The Star Wars movies. We can cuddle and watch them." And I was like, "Okay." But instead, how about? And this is me doing the finger guns through my text. I said, "How about I just stay at home and eat some ravioli? I'll catch you next time." So I heat up some Chef Boyardee. Not all the way. It was pretty chilly.
It sure wasn't great value ravioli.
Yeah, it was not great value ravioli. It was the real shit.
The real deal, Chef Boyardee.
Yeah, so I'd taken a mouthful of Chef Boyardee, and I'm sitting there in my bed watching a movie on the TV, and I said, "She wanted to fuck." And I was like...
Yeah, the cuddle thing should have really been
It
like...
tipped me off.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, fuck it, dude. I had some ravioli. And I just ate my ravioli, and I went to bed, and I showed Matt the next morning.
You're a sad, strange little man.
I mean, apparently I just value ravioli.
You could fill a literal book of just the stories of shit that you have... You got positions you got yourself into that were really good, and then how you stupidly walked out of them.
Yeah, like the zoo story. I think if I had to title an autobiography, if I had to write a book and title it, it'd be "I Gotta Go: The Duke Kirk Story."
I gotta go. Well, you shouldn't have given your last name. Now I gotta censor that so people don't look you up on Facebook.
Oh, it's fine. They won't find it. I go by my real name on Facebook.
Yeah, but if I type in
The
Duke
name.
and the last name you just gave,
Yeah.
it's gonna show up.
Oh,
I bet you anything.
fair.
I
Yeah,
bet you anything.
probably. Yeah, because people will refer to me that as that.
Hopefully,
in posts.
Hopefully, I remember to censor
mean-
that out so nobody finds you on Facebook. Nobody tracks you down and kills you and wears your skin as a mask.
Yeah, who would do that? What kind of wacky thing?
Yeah, me. I would do that.
Not someone in our own home.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't take that baseball bat right there.
Yeah, just bash it.
It's not even a Louisville. That's a softball bat technically.
I was thinking about it the other day. If I ever wanted to like murder someone, all I would really need is one of you two to be my accomplice. Like if we wanted to kill a person, we could.
Like if you and I wanted to kill Matt.
Yeah, it'd be easy. Like think about it.
I imagine Matt's in there like half awake listening.
He's
to
just
this,
like,
and
"What
he's
the
like,
fuck?"
They're after me.
Dude, I've been over
So
the
he's gonna
last
kill us first.
over the last couple days. I've been waking up throughout like half talks with people. So like I would hear you talking to Matt. I would hear about something.
And you would just shout something that you think was important into the conversation.
Yeah.
And me and Matt would both shout back, "What?"
Yes, and I'm so gone. I'm so tired. I'm not even in my right mind. And it's all over, man.
Yeah.
So what about you? What would you title your book?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't really write an autobiography. I haven't had that interesting of a life. I considered myself pretty sheltered, but not in a good way.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, sheltered's not really a good thing, but neglected's probably a better word.
Okay.
A better word to use. Yeah. I mean, my story would be mostly about being judged for every choice I made, so I stopped making choices.
Right. How I stopped making choices.
right.
The Gaza story.
Well, no, because it was like my mom used to make fun of us for not having any friends,
Right.
and then when we started just hanging out with friends every day, she said, "What are you guys, gay? You go over to your friend's house every day?"
Wow.
And then it's like, okay. And then whenever she would judge me if I wore jeans out because I wear athletic shorts around the house.
Yeah.
I was like, I wear jeans to school. You don't ask me what I'm doing at school.
Yeah, I feel you.
And I was like, this is fucking crazy. So I just like stopped going places, so I wasn't accused of doing drugs everywhere I went.
Yeah.
That was why I quit playing football, is because we went for wings one day after lifting and came home to a best friend of mine, jokingly telling my parents that I was probably out smoking weed, considering that half the football team smokes weed.
Of course.
Yeah, and I was like, I didn't just tell my mom last week that I stopped riding with a guy because they had mentioned getting me to smoke weed over the summer.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's not cool. I'm gonna duck.
Yeah.
It's not what happened at all. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
But I still got, the accusatory glares and we're going to get you drug tested as soon as we get paid. And I was like, fucking waste your money. I don't care.
I do want to...
Look, he goes immediately to sleep. He's ready to fuck up your foot. I pick him up and rub his tummy, and he's going to sleep. He's taking a nap right now.
Our cat does that.
Comatose. Watch, he's going to fall.
He is going to fall. Our cat will fall asleep unaware of where he's falling asleep to the point where he might as well have little cat narcolepsy. But I want to end on a story that I think is pretty funny for me.
Funny for you?
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, is it going to be funny for everybody?
Hopefully.
Did you bring enough to share with the class, dude?
I did.
Okay.
I did bring enough pieces of gum.
But no, I mean comedy.
Oh, no.
Is everybody going to laugh, or is it just going to be you?
It might just be me.
Are you even going to laugh?
No, probably not. So the first time I tried weed at my own home, right? First time I ever smoked weed at my own home. Now, keep in mind, my family, they don't give a fuck. They could not give less of a fuck. But I'd been talking to my mom the day before, and I said, no, I don't smoke weed. Of course not. What the fuck, are you stupid? No. And then my roommate, Tyler, who shall remain nameless, is not really his name, but
that is really his name. He did used to have a roommate named Tyler.
I mean, I did, but it's a separate guy. Point is,
you're giving your roommate a fake name by giving him a real name of one of your other roommates.
I guess.
So it's like you had 3 roommates. You roommate 1 is now roommate 2. Roommate 2 is now 3. 3 is now 1.
And Dale is Dale.
Dale's always Dale.
Yeah. So what happened was
Dale like the 30-year-old guy?
Yeah, who broke my PS3.
Yeah. What a dickhead.
Yeah, he left it in a glass cabinet on for 4 fucking days. And he said, "Oh, I thought it would turn off by itself."
It did when it overheated.
Yeah, fuck you, Dale. You broke my goddamn PS3. Point is, I tried weed for the first time in my own home, and keep in mind, I had smoked it before.
I was gonna say, are you saying that you tried it for the first time in your own home, or you were trying it at home for the first time?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm trying it at home, and my friend hands me the joint. I take a big old hit off the joint, and I pass it back to him. And before I can exhale, my mom shoves open the door, and she goes, "Duke, you gotta take a drug test for your sister." And I swallow the mouthful of smoke.
So she wasn't asking as a concerned parent. She was asking so you could take a drug test for your sister.
Yeah, so I swallow the smoke, and I look over to Tyler, and he can see me start crying because of the pain of swallowing a fucking mouthful of marijuana. And fucking, I'm dying, I'm dying on the inside, and he sees a single tear roll down my eye, and I turn back to my mom, and I coughing, I go, I go, why can't her friend do it? And she's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm alright, Mom." And I'm like, why can't her friend do it, Mom? Why not? And she's like, "Duke, you know as well as I do, that bitch is high as hell." And I said, "Yeah."
It's the worst thing.
Long story short, I failed a drug test for my sister.
The worst thing you had to tell your mom was that you just smoked weed.
No, I didn't tell her.
She didn't know. Y'all were sitting there smoking. They were just smoking a joint. You didn't have nothing to do with it.
I didn't lie a lot as a kid, so my mom just thought I was choking from like Tyler's.
Sounds like you did lie a lot as a kid.
I mean, I took the drug test for Deanna.
That's one lie. You didn't tell your mom that you had smoked weed before. That's a second lie. And then not telling your mom that you smoked weed before taking a drug test for your sister, I think, is a third lie.
To be fair, I did try to cajole my way out of it. I did try to do everything in my power to convince my mom to let someone else take the drug test. And what happened was, we got the drug test back, and my mom comes into my room and she goes, "You know your sister failed that drug test?" And I go, "Oh yeah, it sucks. I wish her friend hadn't taken it for her." And she goes, my mom looks at me and I can see the gears turning in her head. And for a minute, I am terrified. I'm about to be found out. It's all over. And she goes, yeah, you're right. And she goes in and she yells at my sister for a fucking hour. And I hear the shouting. I'm just laying in bed. I'm whistling. Tyler is on the computer playing WoW. And I'm just fucking losing it. I'm having a good time. I'm having a great old time. And that's my trying weed at the house story.
I got nothing to say to that. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I felt if anyone who had made it this far into the podcast needed that
No,
for the main reason that I wanted to give some kind of underbelly story that I usually give. You know, I always give at least one dark underbelly story per podcast, and I needed to get it in there.
Do you? Because we sort of just talked about presidents last podcast.
And was it in the we were talking about sometime on the recording about how I got picked up for soliciting young children?
Oh yeah, I think that might have been last podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's a dark underbelly story. Why are you're fucking with your shorts tag?
Yeah, I'm gonna rip it off as soon as we stop recording.
I'm gonna beat you up because I'm sure that scratching has been picked up by the mic. It's a super sensitive mic.
It's fair, yeah. It has caught some weird
sensitive
shit.
little baby ears.
That's true. I bet it caught shoes all day.
Oh, I imagine that he's been recorded well, running around, causing a little mayhem, fucking with the trash.
He's a trash kitty.
I don't know why he fucks with the trash.
Dude, Nuo eats bread. Shoes is a trash kitty. Our animals are a mess.
Right. I wish I had an underbelly story, but I mean.
One day.
No. Yeah, probably not. I think I'm at the point like now as a person.
Yeah.
Where I've accepted the fact that I don't want to try these drugs.
The druggist.
Yeah, the druggist. I don't want to do anything like that.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to.
That's fair.
Because why would I?
Yeah. What's the point, really?
Yeah. Why would I start now when I've made an effort to avoid for what 8 years, roughly.
No, don't get me wrong. I'm not really a drug user myself anymore. I'll still smoke weed if someone offers me weed. But I'm never going to go out and be like, hey, you know what I need to buy today? Some weed.
Yeah.
Plus, I could get it for free very, very easily.
I watched you smoke some free weed at your house while we
Yeah.
were in Ohio. That was super uncomfortable, by the way.
Yeah, I apologize.
Hey, here's Duke's sister and his sister's boyfriend.
Yeah.
And now they're all smoking weed. Well, except for the boyfriend, because he's got a job and he's up for a promotion. He don't want to get.
He lost that job like that week.
What'd he do?
I don't remember. I think he probably failed a drug test. I'm not sure.
Fucking hell, that's fucked up.
I just know my sister texted me like right when it happened, and I was like, "Oh, nice."
That was a good job. That's fucked up.
I was like, "That's pretty dope." Ha ha ha.
That's fucked up. I can't believe you'd say something. He seemed like a decent guy.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
If he wasn't the guy that beat her ass.
No, it wasn't her.
Okay.
It wasn't him.
Wasn't her. Oh, he never beat her ass. He definitely beat people's ass. It's just not her particularly.
Yeah, it was a different guy.
Actually, it was a different boyfriend who
It was
beat her ass. Cause I don't know.
It was a guy that was on heroin, I think.
Oh my god, that's good. Well,
Yeah.
one, she was dating a guy on heroin. You kind of get what you get there.
Dude, it was so fucked up. She was telling me stories about how like she and him moved to New York for a while, and like living on Jamaica Ave. I don't know if that's a real road.
Yeah, that sounds like a ganja reference that she was making.
Yeah,
or she was just so high the whole time that she didn't know that wasn't the real name of the
I
street.
know at one point she told me she saw a baby get shot, which to me just sounds like I've got some fucking stories, but I've never in my whole fucking life seen a baby get shot.
Yeah. I mean, you weren't in Vietnam, so I mean, I guess you wouldn't have the opportunity to really do that.
Never seen Charlies coming out of the trees.
Yeah.
God.
Tango on or six or what? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know terms. I know the words.
Yeah.
I just don't know how to put them together into references. But shoes is eating shoes. We're gonna end the podcast on a cannibalism note.
Yeah.
Mostly because Duke really wants to rip that tag off. I can tell.
Can I do it on?
Go ahead. Rip. There you go.
Getting the other one too.
Have another one. ASMR. Let's do this. Let's get real close in. Okay, don't get real close into the mic.
I couldn't. Oh, it feels so good.
You're such a weirdo. Don't, please. He immediately goes to put the tags in his mouth like a fucking weirdo. I apologize, everybody. I have to deal with them too.
Yeah.
So I mean, I feel your pain, but this has been Smashbox Live. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast and come back for future ones.
See you guys later.